Welcome to a Labor Day edition of the St. Andrews University Knights Football Report with Coach Bob Curtin. I'm Mark Clemens. And Coach, coming off a very tough game with a very good football team over the weekend in Lindsey Wilson. I know if we look at last year's game against Lindsey Wilson and this year's game with Lindsey, there was an improvement. And I think that's something you can build off of.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely agree. Last year we didn't even really finish the game against Lindsey Wilson. We played a half. The game was pretty much over. It was 58 or 59 nothing. And then the second half, we played 2 8-minute quarters. So this year, still a lopsided score, lopsided performance, but we played football this year. We ran to the ball. Effort was not lacking. Discipline was not lacking. This week we're overmatched by a more oiled, well-seasoned program, a little bit further along in their process than we are, but certainly something we can build on here at St. Andrews. And we constantly talk about, not being able to or not wanting to coach effort and desire, and we didn't coach any of that this week. We coached kids to play football, love the game, and really compete against a top-notch quality program.
And Coach, I know one touchdown got called back for an inadvertent whistle. What a tough break on a really an odd play, but would have been a touchdown on that long pass play. But I guess the officials were fooled as much as the broadcasters were on that one when the ball got into the receiver's hands.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate that occurred. When you are a significant underdog and you have a really successful play get called back for an inadvertent whistle or missed call, as an adult, as the head football coach, I understand it's not intentional. Nobody woke up that morning and said, let's see how much further we can kick St. Andrews. They already got Lindsey Wilson. But as I told the guys, the good news is we converted. We were in the right place at the right time. We executed the play as designed, and it just wasn't meant to be. As I joked with the ref, an air of seriousness was with me. Is you understand the mountain we're trying to climb here, and I need a little bit better when that happens. But the refs were making calls because from how they see it, and so I'm not upset at them. And they were also they were very professional team of officials, and so me joking with them about the mountain that we're climbing here, it's real, it exists, but I was very pleased otherwise, and with the officiating, the ability for me to engage the officials. However, I really would have liked to have had that score.
Yeah, we wanted that touchdown bad.
I'm not sure. Yeah, and there's no guarantee on how the game would have turned, but I think it would have turned a little differently. I'm not saying that we would have came back and but that would have made the score 8-7, and that's different. Yeah. That's different than 16-0. But it is what it is, and we are using that as a learning moment. First as coaches, it's a teaching moment that when you do what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, good things will happen. And then when something happens that prohibits that from happening, or prohibits the play from coming to fruition, we've still got to go back and get after it. And, we've got to go back and play the rest of the other, 58 minutes or so.
Well, Coach, let's talk about some of the guys who played well this week. We don't have players of the week picked just yet, but you've got a few candidates for it. Let's start first on the defensive side of the ball. Who had good weeks for you this week?
Well, we had several guys that had really good weeks. Obviously on the defensive line, our nose guard, Irvin Gardner III, he was a workhorse down there, and he was going up against a very, very large offensive line, and he played exceptionally well. And of course, Milligan, again, Tyrell Milligan had another exceptional week, or game, I should say. And then, we had the block punt, and then we had, Heath Lavarius Lewis, who recovered that in the end zone, but also back in the secondary, who's really leading this week. He was really making great calls and adjusting that secondary, the way Coach McClure and the DB coach and Coach Fredericks wanted. So I was really pleased with his leadership. It was, echelons above what we had from him the first week. And he didn't have a bad first week. It's just he had another week under his belt, and he is sort of our leader back there. So those are three guys on the defensive side of things that really pleased with. And then the final guy I would tell you is the guy that had the sack, Adrian Fendel. He was in on several tackles for loss, and he had the sack, of course. He was just I think he was a thorn in Lindsey Wilson's side a little bit, just somebody they had to contend with as he was making plays, and had a really good showing, if you will.
All right, Coach. On the offensive side of the ball, you've got a veteran over there that always shows up in your wide receiver. And your punter, too.
Yeah, Aronson Cook. Yeah. So, Aronson Cook, we had him doing a bunch of different things this week. Again, he's definitely one of the guys that really did well on the offensive side of things. Again, everybody loves his stats and how well he plays, and how much he catches the ball, but I'm more impressed with him and how much he pushes his teammates to be their best self. I mean, he really gets out of his teammates the most that they can get. He pushes them to places they don't think they could be. It's sort of like having another coach out there, and it was really nice to see him out there doing what he does, blocking downfield, picking guys up, running to the next play. And then I would also tell you that Marvin Farmer, our veteran O lineman, he's a third-team All-American select, had another very solid game. He is sort of the foundation of that offensive line, and just keeps them calm, keeps them under pressure, but makes sure that they understand their blocking schemes. And his engine doesn't slow down either. He's got a heck of an engine. So those two guys did very well.
You always like those guys that play hard all the time. You don't you just turn the motor on and go. Well, Coach, this week we move on to Tennessee. Your first road game of the season, going to Bethel University, 1:00 kickoff coming up on Saturday. They've got a 1-0 record coming in, beat Point 51-13. So you're going to have a tough assignment added on to the fact that you're going on the road. Let's talk about that game. Tell us a little bit about what the Knights need to do this week.
We need to continue to improve. Offensively, we need to continue to do a little better job moving the ball. We need to do a little better job safeguarding that ball, and then just staying really positive and operating within ourselves. I think when we operate within ourselves and we establish a tempo that is not necessarily upscale or upbeat, but it is a tempo where we can all get into a rhythm. I think offensively we'll see some success. Defensively we're going to change some things up a little bit and get people into positions where we can be a little bit more competitive. And I'll just leave it at that. But the defensive line seems to be where we're hanging our hat right now. And then on the backside, that's allowing our young guys, our DBs, to not have to be out on an island for so long and guard these big time receivers for 5-6 seconds. We're trying to hold it down to 3 to 4. So if we can continue to do that, put guys in good positions, I think on defense we need to just get a few more third down stops, bend but don't break. Defense that we're trying to establish, I think, is gaining a little momentum, just like our offense. And then, on special teams, man, I tell you, if we're going to look at all three phases of the game here, or three facets of the game, getting that block punt was, pretty big. Coach McClure, our special teams coordinator and DB's coordinator, he's been wanting to do that now, and he's been really working hard with them guys on special teams. And I think having that bit of build on it.
Coach, certainly special. Yeah, we're breaking up just a little bit. We do apologize for that, Coach. But special teams certainly did pretty well on cover as well. And I sometimes just catching that ball and not letting it roll is a big thing on those punt returns too. So you're able to do that a few times this week. Coach, I'm going to give you the final word before we get out of here today. What do St. Andrews Knights fans need to know about the football team this week?
I think that one of the things that that most of us need to understand is got a very disciplined team. Okay, it's a much different team than when we're accustomed to. They're very disciplined. They're very eager to play football. They are very excited to be here at St. Andrews, and we're gonna go. We're gonna travel that 12 hours to Tennessee in a bus, and we're gonna give them everything we got, and hopefully we can provide Bethel, the number 7 team in the country, a really good challenge, and that's our goal for the week.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it. Coach Bob Curtin, the St. Andrews University Knights Football Report. I'm Mark Clemens with 485 Sports. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk next week. Coach, good luck this weekend traveling over to Tennessee, and we hope to talk about some good things coming up on next Monday.